All right, on the menu today, we are making homemade yeast dinner rolls. These are great I made them for Thanksgiving and for Christmas dinner, and my husband loves them. So you'll need sugar, flour, some oil. I got this is the active yeast, 2 room temperature eggs, unsalted butter, honey, milk, and I think that's pretty much all you're gonna need. All right, so you want to start off with 1 cup of milk, and you want it warm to the touch. You don't want it super hot. I'm going to add 1/4 cup of sugar, and this yeast. So 2 1/4, 2 of these, 2 teaspoons, 1/4 of the dried yeast. I'm going to stir this up, and 2 tablespoons of honey. You want to start this first because it's going to take about 10 minutes for the yeast to start to activate. Woo! It's going to be very sweet. I'm going to stir this up. And the sugar is basically what the yeast will start eating to activate. It'll get really foamy. So while everything is incorporated over there, I'm going to set this aside. And we're going to get the flour and stuff in this bowl. So we're going to level off 4 cups of flour, and then you're going to need a 5th cup and sit it to the side because you're going to need that when you start kneading the dough. So it's actually counted into the recipe. All right, so you're just basically going to sift this through your strainer and get all this through. Okay, I can get rid of that. And then I need a teaspoon of salt. It's just the Himalayan salt. Okay, so then we're going to set this aside. I'm going to melt 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter. After 10 minutes, if you look down in there, it has started to bubble up. That's the yeast, it's activated. To that, we are going to add 2 room temperature eggs. These are eggs from my coop. And I'm going to incorporate that and my 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter. I'm going to stir that all up. I did stir the flour so I don't have one big lump of salt in there. So that's all incorporated. I'm just going to dump it into my flour. This is going to be kind of a sticky dough. I'm just going to stir this up so it starts getting into a ball. Then I'm going to throw it on the counter and start throwing my flour down so I can knead this. Stop for a minute. Alright, so I'm just going to throw a little flour on here. You see, this is what the dough will look like, and that's exactly what I want it to look like. It's kind of sticky. This is that cup of flour I set aside, and we're just going to start rolling it and kneading it. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to throw a tablespoon of oil in my bowl that I'm going to let this sit in, so it doesn't stick to my bowl, and just kind of coat the bowl the bottom of the bowl, because I'm going to sit that in there after I get done kneading this for about, you want to knead this for about 10 minutes. Just fold it over. And if you find you need more flour, just add it. It's sticking to the countertop. And like I said, you're just gonna, what you use from that cup, you'll use for this when you knead it this time, and when you do the second knead. And that's where I'll start cutting it up into the small sizes it needs to be and rolling it into the rolls. Okay, good stuff. All right, so after about 10 minutes, way to check this to see. I'm going to tear a small piece off. Just kind of roll it up in your hands and just kind of pull it, and it won't pull apart right away. And you'll kind of see the gluten, the little starting to make stringies in there. So that looks good. One thing is you can't, if you're hand kneading this, you won't over knead it. If you put it in their your food bowl or blender with the kneading hook, you can over blend it. So after make a little ball out of it, I'm going to stick it down in my bowl that I had the oil around it. I'm going to cover it with saran wrap, and it's going to sit there for 90 minutes. It will double in size, and then we'll come back to that when you get to that point. All right, it's been 90 minutes and it is doubled in size. So all you have to do is push it down, and then you're going to put it back on out here. I'll set this in the sink. We're going to start rolling it out, kneading it again. You don't have to knead it that long this time. Like I said, there's the other cup that I set aside. So I'm just going to knead it basically into a log. And I've got my little handy dandy cutter here. I'm going to cut it in half. Set this aside. I'm going to start I'm just going to cut it into some pieces and just kind of roll it into a ball shape. And I've already pre-lined the cookie sheet with Part Smith. So I'm going to just stick these on here. One too big. You can sit these kind of close together. You don't want them completely touching because these will double in size too, but really close, so you'll have enough room. And we'll come back to you as soon as I get these all rolled out. So rolled them, or made them into little dough balls. We got 22 out of all that. Didn't end up using all the flour, and all I'm going to do now is just cover them up. We're going to wait another 30 to 35 minutes for them to rise again, and then they'll go in the oven. All right, so the oven's already preheated to 375. I've made like an egg wash. This is just an egg with a little bit of water. This ended up rising for about 40 minutes as opposed to the 35. So all I'm going to do is just brush this egg wash over the tops really lightly. And you're going to put it in the oven for 15 minutes Now my oven is a gas oven, so it sometimes will cook a little faster, but you do want to watch these. As soon as they're golden on the top, they're pretty much done.
She means propane, not gas, by the way.
Propane. All right, so I'm going to stick these in the oven. Ready? All right. They are done. Took about, what, 11 minutes? 12 minutes? And they're done.
Ooh, that's hot.
Ooh, break it open. Oh, that looks good.
As a photographer, I have to be focused
Highly
on
recommend
clients who have
them.
a real bad toothache. Just kicking.